When the final whistle blew, one thing became crystal clear. We had just witnessed the most extraordinary Africa Cup of Nations in history. AFCON 2025 delivered drama that transcended football itself.
But that final, I won't lie to you, it was your basic final. In the first half, it was normal. The second half, it was completely normal. But the last 10 minutes up until the end of the game, it was crazy. So much happened. The chaos. First of all, let's start with the disallowed goal. Why was it disallowed in the first place? That was a clear goal. Morocco tried scamming it and the ref just disallowed that goal. And then they get a penalty. The reaction from the players to actually storm off the pitch. A lot of, your European media outlets and whatever, they're saying it's a disgrace. They shouldn't have done that, all that. But I get it. And I absolutely respect the coach and the players for stepping off the pitch, because that was absolute nonsense. To me, that was not a penalty. It was too soft, but it was given. And then they come back on the pitch. Brahim Diaz, for some reason, he decides to be very arrogant and then lobs it with his weak foot, looking stupid. Mendy saves it. Then we go to extra time. The goal, brilliant goal, with his left foot into the top corner outside the box, and it looked like he was falling, but it helped him with the shot. It still went in. It doesn't matter. The goal was excellent. And the football Senegal was playing, they absolutely deserved the AFCON trophy. Take nothing away from Senegal. They showed that they will never give up no matter what the situation is. They showed their physicality, they showed their technical ability, and they showed their teamwork. So to me, they are the deserving champions. I'm so happy they won it and it didn't go to Morocco, because what Morocco showed us, they were trying to rob this trophy. They were trying to win it by any means necessary, and I don't like that. I respect it, especially when my teams do it, but I'm not a fan of it.
Wasn't just a tournament, it was theatre, chaos and pure emotion compressed into 4 unforgettable weeks in Morocco. Here are the 5 moments that defined it all. The tournament had barely kicked off when something unusual caught the cameras. While thousands of fans in the stadium bounced, chanted and waved flags, one man stood perfectly still. Michel and Kuka.
Yeah, this guy. Shout out this guy. I saw videos of him and I was like, what's up with this guy? Why am I seeing videos of him? Because I was seeing like a little bit of him, then I just scroll past whatever, but I just saw him over and over popping up. Then I was like, what is this? Let me watch him. And then I realized he's just doing this pose for all was it Congo or whatever, their games, and I was shocked. I was like, so you're telling me for 90 minutes this guy just stands there? No, he has to be the most committed fan of this tournament. I'm sure there's an award or something for the fans, and this guy deserves it, because that's ridiculous.
Dinga, dressed
That's
immaculately
ridiculous.
in a yellow blazer and blue tie,
That's
the colors of the
strength.
Democratic Republic of Congo.
Look at this. You standing like this throughout the game. That's core strength at its finest. The amount of training you have to do before the AFCON, you have no choice, because if you don't do the training, eventually you're going to give up before the game is over.
Raised his right arm skyward and didn't move for 90 minutes, not once. He was recreating the iconic statue of Patrice Lumumba, the DRC's first prime minister and independence hero, whose bronze monument stands in Kinshasa with that exact pose. The 53-year-old, nicknamed Lumumba Veya by Congolese supporters, stood on a small pedestal throughout every DRC match at the tournament. Before each game, he would train by standing motionless for 45 to 50 minutes, preparing himself mentally and physically for the endurance test ahead. During the group opener against Benin, the match stretched to nearly 115 minutes with injuries and VAR checks. Players cramped up on the pitch. Mbola Dinga never lowered his arm. His tribute became the breakout story of AFCON 2025. Social media exploded with images of this motionless figure amid the chaos of African football. Television broadcasts repeatedly cut to him.
This was cold. I won't lie. This was cold. Iconic. Yeah, the amount of discipline this requires, it's very impressive to pull it off.
Standing firm while supporters around him danced and celebrated. He told the Associated Press that he stayed still to give strength to the team, to pass energy to the players. When the DRC's tournament ended with a heartbreaking extra time loss to Algeria in the round of 16, Mbola Dinga finally broke his pose, wiping away tears before falling into the crowd. The moment went viral instantly.
Damn.
What happened next showed the unity football can inspire. Algerian striker Mohamed Amoura had mimicked Mbola Dinga's statue pose after scoring, which many interpreted as mockery. Social media erupted in criticism, but Amoura quickly apologized, admitting he hadn't understood the meaning behind the gesture. The Algerian Football Federation then invited Mbola Dinga to their team hotel, presenting him with a personalized Algeria shirt with Lumumba emblazoned on the back. Meanwhile, in Casablanca, Zambian striker Patson Daka was living every footballer's dream and nightmare in the span of 30 seconds. His team was heading toward a disappointing opening game defeat against Mali when, deep into the 92nd minute, Daka rose majestically to meet Matthews Banda's curling cross. His diving header crashed into the net, salvaging a crucial 1-1 draw and sparking absolute pandemonium among the Chipolopolo faithful. The Leicester City forward, overcome with emotion, decided to celebrate with his signature backflip. He'd done it before without issue, but this time everything went wrong. As Daka planted his arm for the rotation, it slipped on the turf. His body twisted awkwardly mid-air and he came crashing down directly onto the back of his neck and shoulders. The stadium fell silent. Teammates rushed over as Daka clutched his neck, clearly in pain. For those watching, it looked catastrophic. Social media immediately feared.
I didn't watch this game. But after seeing that clip, that looked crazy. But it looked like AI at the same time. But still, though, I can imagine the pain because falling on your neck.
The worst, with clips of the botched
okay.
celebration spreading like wildfire. Commentators speculated about potential serious injury, wondering if Zambia's key striker had just ended his tournament before it truly began. Medical staff attended to him on the pitch as concern etched across every face in the stadium. Remarkably, after several minutes of assessment, Daka got to his feet. He not only completed the match, but later appeared at post-match media duties, seemingly unscathed.
No, he was lucky.
Zambia's team doctor quickly dismissed injury speculation, confirming that Daka was 100% fine with no pain, no neck stiffness, and perfect range of motion. It was an astonishing escape from what could have been a career-threatening injury. Group F delivered a slice of comedy gold.
And this is why I'm not a fan of doing backflips during celebrations. It's cold, like, I won't lie to you, it looks so cool, you know. Nani had one of the best celebrations, you know, with the flip and all that. But me doing it personally, because first of all, I can't do a flip. That's one thing. But if I could, I wouldn't, because so much can go wrong. You could slip, you could get a muscle cramp, and then, you know, fall like this guy on your neck, and then, no, man, no.
When Mozambique faced Cameroon, the Mambas had stunned everyone with their first ever AFCON victory just days earlier, defeating Gabon 3-2, and were riding high with confidence. When Jenny Katamo put them ahead in the 23rd minute against the 5-time champions, an upset looked possible. Cameroon were rattled, searching for answers against opponents they'd beaten 7 consecutive times historically. Then came the moment that encapsulated just how unpredictable AFCON can be. Just 5 minutes after falling behind, Cameroon were gifted the strangest of equalizers. Under pressure but without immediate danger, Mozambique defender Nene inexplicably turned and kicked the ball directly into his own net. There was no deflection, no confusion about which goal he was aiming for. He just launched it into their empty net.
But I get it. Because his options were limited and he had to kick the ball away. But in that position, he could only kick it up. And if he was going to try and kick it down, there was not going to be enough power to kick it away. So whoever was coming from behind was going to just finish it off. So he had to kick it in that direction. It's just unfortunate that it ended up back in the net. But I get it. The
own goal completely shifted the momentum. Mozambique, who had been growing in confidence, suddenly looked deflated. Cameroon handed a lifeline they barely deserved at that moment, regrouped and seized control. Christian Kofane struck a beautiful right-footed shot from outside the box to complete the turnaround, securing a 2-1 victory for the indomitable Lions. But nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared the football world for what unfolded in the final. The game between Senegal and Morocco had been tense and tactical, locked at 0-0 as it entered.
Low-key, this has to be one of the most entertaining finals. it has to be one of the most entertaining finals because, yeah, sure, not a lot of goals were scored, but then the drama in it. Okay, it won't be better than the World Cup final back in 2022. The France versus Argentina. Yes, that game was amazing. But this one, man, it was entertaining as hell. Very entertaining.
Stoppage time.
And knowing what's on the line for both teams, the host nation winning it in front of their fans. I think it would be the first time they win the AFCON, and Senegal looking to win the AFCON as well to cause a huge upset away. Sadio Mane trying to win his second AFCON. I mean, so much was on the line for both teams, and the drama that unfolded, man, no one could have scripted it any better. It was just amazing to watch.
Then chaos erupted. In the 92nd minute, Senegal's Abdoulaye Seck headed a corner off the post, and Ismaila Sarr bundled in the rebound. Celebrations exploded until the referee blew his whistle, ruling Seck.
And this ref, horrible ref. He's a horrible ref. This guy shouldn't be a ref for any more AFCON games. Forget AFCON. Even his home nations league cup tournaments or anything, he shouldn't be there. That guy was awful, man. He was just bad. The decision making, I don't know. It just looked like match fixing. But I wouldn't blame Morocco at all, even though they are the host nation. Maybe they did slip something in the envelope, under the table, maybe, but I'm not accusing them of that. Maybe it was just a poor ref. They were just unfortunate to end up with a ref like him, but nah, he was awful.
Fouled Achraf Hakimi in the build-up. Senegal were angry. Minutes later, as a Morocco corner swung toward the back post, Brahim Diaz went down under contact from El Hadji Malik Diouf.
That is very soft, man. Very soft. That's not a penalty.
The referee consulted VAR and pointed to the spot in the 98th minute.
Definitely not a
Senegal
penalty.
coach Pape Thiaw had seen enough. Feeling his team had been cheated throughout the match, he made the extraordinary decision to instruct his players to leave the field. They walked off toward the tunnel while officials, players and fans watched in complete bewilderment. Objects flew from the crowd. Fans tried to invade the pitch. Nobody knew if the match would even continue.
And I saw a video of the press conference after, where the coach walked in, I don't know what you call it, that room with all the media guys, press conference, whatever. The people who were supposed to ask the questions, they just walked out. They're trying to show how disrespectful what he did was, and they were just trying to do the same thing to him. So I don't know why they would do that in the first place, because they just look stupid to me. Maybe some of you understand and agree with the journalists for doing that, but I don't know, to me it just seemed weird. Seemed a bit cringy, but to each their own.
14 minutes, negotiations ensued. It was Sadio Mane, Senegal's talisman,
Sadio
who convinced
Mane.
his teammates to return.
Like that?
When they finally came back, the atmosphere was electric with tension. Diaz, the tournament's top scorer, stood over the ball with the weight of 50 years of Moroccan dreams on his shoulders. Their last AFCON title came in 1976.
But could you imagine the pressure? The pressure was intense, I won't lie to you. And when pressure is this deep, a lot of footballers, their default is just to go central. He decided to panenka it and it didn't come off. A lot of footballers were just going to shoot normally in the center, and it wouldn't be low, because when you shoot low centrally, the goalkeeper is very likely to stop that football. But when you shoot high, he has to at least stretch his leg while diving out. So yeah, I understand why he shot centrally, but I don't understand why he panenkered it, if that makes sense. But man, it's so sad for Brahim Diaz, because he was actually very decent throughout the tournament. He was their best player. He could have won player of the tournament if they actually won the tournament, but it wasn't meant to be.
This was the moment to end the drought. Diaz stepped up and attempted a panenka, gently chipping the ball toward the centre. Edouard Mendy didn't dive. He simply stood there and caught it like a training ground exercise. The commentators couldn't believe it. Former Nigeria captain John Obi Mikel called it devastating, predicting Diaz would have nightmares for weeks. It was later described on social media as potentially the worst penalty in football history. Not for its execution alone, but for the context.
Yeah, for the context, I get it. I get it. The context makes it crazy. This is gonna basically show us the mental strength of Brahim Diaz, because how he responds to all this, how he plays from this point out, it's we're just gonna have to see how he copes with this, because this is very difficult for any footballer. I can only imagine the amount of stress he's going through. You know, he's a brilliant footballer. Okay, I wouldn't say brilliant, he's okay. But he's decent enough, let me say that. But it's going to get ugly. Let me say, the journey is going to get ugly if he allows it to get ugly. But if he steps up and actually plays like nothing happened and improves as a footballer, then it's just going to be a great story for him.
The pressure and the 17-minute wait that preceded it. The final went to extra time, and in the 94th minute, Papagay unleashed an unstoppable shot into the top corner. Senegal held on to win 1-0, claiming their second AFCON title. Diaz, who had been the tournament's brightest star, was substituted shortly after his miss, tears streaming down his face. He later apologized to his nation on social media, saying his soul ached and taking full responsibility for the defeat. FIFA President Gianni Infantino condemned Senegal's walk-off as unacceptable, and Coach Diao later admitted he regretted the decision, acknowledging...
Don't regret it, my guy. Because what you did helped with the penalty as well. If Brahim Diaz didn't have time to think about the penalty, he would have taken it differently. I am sure of this. He would have just blasted it into any side. He would have just gone for it. But because he had so much time to think about it, it played a huge role with his mentality and how he's going to take the penalty. So in a way, I wouldn't say in a way, it definitely affected Brahim Diaz. So shout out to the coach. He did what he had to do. I respect it fully, and I totally get it, because that ref was absolute nonsense. Those decisions were infuriating, and I'm not from Senegal, but that ref, man, he has to pay. He has to pay for his sins. Lucky enough, the right team won the game. It's as simple as that.
He had reacted in the heat of the moment. But for all the controversy, all the drama and all the chaos, the AFCON 2025 final perfectly showed what made this tournament unforgettable. It was raw, emotional, unpredictable, and utterly compelling. AFCON 2025 gave us moments that transcended sport. This wasn't just the craziest one of all time, it was a tournament that reminded us why we love football in the first place. What did you think of the final? Let us know in the comments. Remember to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel. Also be sure to turn on post notifications